And I don't know about you all, but I have really rural internet. So the recording will be available sometime tomorrow because that's how long it'll take to download and get uploaded again once I get it done. So I am gonna mute everyone just to eliminate background noise. But again, that does not mean you can certainly unmute yourself and interrupt me if you have something to add or need me to clarify something. So just because I'm muting, it's just background, just to eliminate background noise doesn't mean I don't want to hear from you. So feel free to use the chat box. So again, welcome everyone that's joined. I'm glad to see so many new faces. For those of you that I haven't met yet, I am Jenny Stotts. I volunteer here in District 6690 as the membership chair. So I appreciate you all taking the time to join this conversation. I've been trying to hold these every other month after polling membership folks at the club level about what would be useful. We kind of came up with some topics, and that's how these roundtables came to be. So tonight we're going to be focusing on building an effective team. So whether you're a club chair, whether you're a member of the committee, you're just interested in membership, or maybe you hold an office or you're going to hold an office in your club. I'm going to share some best practices, but really I hope you'll view me as the conversation starter, and we'll kind of share ideas, and I'll ask you all to share as we go through as well. So any questions, stop me along the way. Here are our topics left for this Rotary year. We have tackling retention troubles and adding value for members. And I'm interested if all of you want to connect with me via email or send me a message after this session. I'm interested in ideas for additional topics. I'm also getting feedback from some of the past attendees that it might be useful to maybe have these a little bit more frequently. So rather than every 8 weeks, I might look at going to them every 6 weeks or something like that, to have them a little bit more frequently. And I apologize, just one second. I have someone who's trying to get into the session and is having a little bit of trouble. Just humor me for a minute. And it's District Governor nominee Price. So, I don't want to ignore his text. I don't know what happens when you disobey them. Just kidding, nothing happens. So if you have ideas for topics, I would love to hear them so that you can join us. So let's dive in and talk about what should the membership committee look like? What could it look like? So membership is one of the 5 key club committees that Rotary International recommends that every club should have. So the other ones are foundation, service, public image, and administrative or administration committee. Oftentimes administration committee that's what falls under, program planning, bylaws revision, those types of things. So it is one of the 5 core committees. If you follow anything related to the Rotary world at all, membership is a hot topic right now. We have Steve Sambos, wave hi, Steve. He's our assistant Rotary coordinator and our innovative club advocate champion. I think I said that right. But there's a lot of energy focused on how to leverage Rotary's membership and to grow that membership. And if any of you have ever had a conversation with me, you know that I think engagement and, getting creative and creating positive club culture is one of the best things that we can do. I also think it's important that we remain rooted in why it's important to grow Rotary. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the numbers of, what's the net growth, what's the net loss, all of these things that we maybe forget why we're growing. We're not growing just so that we can be big. We're not growing so we can, outshine any other service organization. We're not growing for any of those reasons. We need to grow because that's how we expand our capacity to do our good work around the world. And we can't do that if we don't pay attention to how to create Rotary experiences for new people who haven't met us yet. Because when we leave the world, then Rotary would leave the world. And it's important that we create this legacy and ongoing, gift to the world that is, service through Rotary. So I hope that we can all, when you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all the reports and all of the talk about membership growth, really recenter yourself with that intention of we need to grow because that's how we expand our good work. Imagine if the world had double the number of Rotary members that it has right now. You know, think about the magnitude of the work that we could do. So many world problems would be solved, right? So I hope we'll stay rooted in that throughout this conversation. But building a good membership team is one really great thing that we can do. So I'm going to just talk through some essential kind of core functions of the membership committee and then ask for your input. So the first is attraction. A lot of times membership committees, our membership teams are tasked with coming up with new ways to make the club attractive and to reach new people. I'm interested maybe hearing from one or two of you on some tasks that your committee or that your Rotary Club or Rotaract Club has done related to attraction in the last 6 months. So if someone would like to share something that you've carried out related to attraction, and feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat box. I'll have to scroll through faces. No one's done anything to attract a new member. I know that's not true.
Okay, Jenny.
Thank you, Larry.
We started what we call a pastoral membership, and when we have a minister that we give them free membership for the first year, and we started that probably 4 years ago, and as we got one through, they started staying in our club.
Awesome.
And then they had connections with their church membership. So it has helped us some.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. It's almost like a free trial, right? That's how I ended up with Netflix. So you kind of try it out and say, you know, you eliminate a barrier, and then you really showcase the value of your club and your membership, and that person decides to continue it. That's awesome. In the chat box, we have replacing a normal meeting with a meet and greet to invite a friend. I think that's a great strategy, just to introduce prospective members to Rotary a little bit. Awesome, including club information along with some other event you're doing. So in your case, it's the July 4th light show. Perfect. Ice rink bumper.
Jenny, I'll jump in there since you mentioned. And that, I know this is a really way out there crazy idea, but how about just inviting somebody to join your weekly Zoom meeting when there's a topic you think they might be interested in? So great way to introduce someone to Rotary.
Yeah, I think using, you know, the meetings are a core element of so many of our club experiences that we should be using those, saying, hey, the director of our health department is going to be talking at Rotary. Maybe you're interested in coming and hearing what they have to say about what's going on right now. Robert, I see your hand up. Love to hear from you too.
Well, if this helps, one of the things we have done, I'm in Northeast Cincinnati, is we have really ramped up our speakers who we invite. We've raised the bar. And now that we're meeting virtually, it's even easier. We're finding to recruit speakers because we have them come in at 12:30. We meet on Tuesdays at 12 to 1. So we have them come in at 12:30. And we've invited all the political candidates of one offices and people who are in the news. And man, the speakers we're getting are terrific, which gives us a reason to invite someone to come and hear this speaker. So that's really getting our membership excited about it. It's getting our attendance higher, and it's getting more guests to come.
Yeah, that's a great strategy, using that. I know that there's a lot of talk around kind of that each one bring one type shift. I know in our district, the Delaware Rotary Club has really pushed that this quarter and has seen a lot of early success with it. So that's a great strategy, using the great tools that we already have. That's a great thing to do. Okay, so and if I didn't call on you, I'm sorry. Feel free to add things into the chat box, but there will be lots of opportunities for idea sharing. The next one is engagement. I hope you all like my little pun there with an engagement ring. Laughed way too hard at my own joke when I was making this. But membership committee is a core function is engaging your own membership. And that could mean through the kind of value added pieces, which we're going to talk about at a later roundtable more in depth. It could mean, kind of getting people engaged with service, with the meetings, with social events, getting them involved with initiatives maybe beyond your club. So I'm interested to hear from a couple of you of something that your club or that your membership team has carried out related to engagement in the last 6 months. And if anyone wants to share, feel free to unmute or use the chat box. I see Richard's iPad has a hand up. Richard, what would you like to share? Oh, you're on mute. I'm going to try and unmute you.
All right. Did that work?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Our club has always taken regarding politics, our club has always taken the position that we do not advocate politicizing someone, especially someone who's running for office. But maybe that's the exact opposite philosophy of what we should be doing. I don't know, but if that has helped participation, membership, then we ought to, we should look at it. And I think I'm going to bring that up at my next board meeting. I guess it was a good idea. I never would have looked at it that way.
Yeah, I
Thank
think that the, political, it can be, you have to handle that delicately. But I've seen some clubs very successfully hold candidate forums, not debates, but just simply so people can be informed about the decisions they make on voting day. Or even maybe after someone's in office, electing, or asking an elected official to come and just share their plans for their new position. I think those are all, great things to do. I work in the legal system and we just got a new judge, and I know he's making the rounds at all of the different service clubs, just sharing his ideas for the bench. He's brand new to the judgeship. So I think any opportunities like that for people to connect with those who make decisions about our livelihood is a great way to engage and attract. And I see Steve shared in the chat box that the Cincinnati Club does a member survey to gauge engagement and satisfaction. Awesome as well. Getting that input and then actionizing that input is such a great strategy and is a great role for the membership committee to play. And we're going to talk a little bit more about club assessment here in a sec. Orientation. Another key function often for the membership committee is engaging new members through orientation, teaching them what in the heck is Rotary, like who in the heck is Paul Harris, what's the four-way test, why y'all got a bell, right? These are the questions that new people have. So helping them orient to the club, to your traditions, things like that. I'm interested in hearing if anyone has any new or kind of has shaken up new member orientation. I know a lot of clubs are trying out some new stuff. So does anyone have a really great strategy that they're rolling out or that they have rolled out that they'd want to share? And I will say our last session was all about new member engagement. So that recording is also available on our YouTube channel if you want to go and really deep dive into orientation and new member engagement too. Scanning faces. See if
Jenny, I know, I'll share something from our club. I don't think Chet's on here as our membership chair for Athens Sunrise, but he came up with a great idea, especially with COVID. I think it's harder to get new members to really feel close to the club, a little more so anyway than meeting in person, of course, where you're constantly around new folks and able to do quick introductions. So Chet introduced, and I'm blanking on the name. It's like Rotary Buddy or something like that. I can't, it's a clever name.
Yeah, Rotary
Um,
Pals.
Rotary Pals, there you go. And essentially someone from our membership committee is assigned to a new member to kind of go over some of those orientation things and kind of give them a little bit of background and be like a personal Rotary mentor essentially. And it seems to be going well for our club, and that's something new that we started during COVID, obviously.
Yeah, I've been really, really excited. I know in our district, a lot of clubs are shaking up their new member orientation and really taking more of a mentoring approach rather than kind of that, here are the things you need to do to become a member, right? That kind of nuts and bolts piece. And then really taking it one step further with that mentor piece to create, right? Rotary is about relationships. So kind of creating those, if you've been in my trainings before, you know, I call them smart introductions and smart connections, but making those mentoring and mentoring relationships. Awesome. Next, core function of the membership committee is diversity. And I think this is one that we don't talk a lot about when we talk about forming club leadership, when we talk about the organization or structure of club committees. But I think it's a great opportunity for the membership engagement to really look at expanding membership. And so when I say diversity, of course, I'm talking about racial diversity, gender diversity, age diversity, diversity in any kind of identities, sexual orientation, gender identity, all of those things. But I'm also talking about diversity in classification, diversity in profession, diversity in perspective, diversity in, area of town that someone is coming from, you know, those types of things. So diversity in the broadest sense, and really using the membership committee to take the pulse on how things are going in the club and look for those untapped opportunities. So if you look in your club and think, you know, maybe this time, I know a lot of clubs are looking around and saying, hey, we have no one in public health involved in our club. That'd be a great asset to bring into our club. How can we get someone with that knowledge? Because we want to do projects that support the effort in the pandemic. It'd be great if we had an expert who could help guide us. Like that's an excellent strategy or an excellent example of a membership team looking at their current membership and looking at an opportunity to fill a gap. Okay. So then there are some additional functions. When the last slide are kind of the 4 core functions that you'll find a lot of training on Rotary.org centered around those 4 core functions. Some clubs, depending on your size, might also have their membership team coordinating membership leads, which you just heard Becky talking. She is our District 6690's membership leads coordinator. And then we also have sometimes membership committees might be responsible for doing those kind of assessments of the club. A great assessment to use is the Rotary Club Health Check. I have the link at the end of these slides, which I'll get to send a copy out of the slides as well. And then some clubs also tuck new clubs underneath their membership committee. So if your club is interested in really looking at forming satellites or supporting new clubs in your area, some clubs also have built that function into their membership committee as well. Ultimately, it can look like whatever your club wants it to look like or needs it to look like. These are just some of the basic strategies to help kind of round out your membership committee or your membership team. And that last slide with the 4 icons on engagement, attraction, orientation, and diversity, those could be just tasks that are housed underneath your committee, or it could be subcommittees. You could have a person in charge of each of those things. Obviously, we have clubs that have, 15 to 20 people. We have clubs that have 200 plus people. So the depth of those committee structures might look a little bit different. Okay. So you've probably, I've already said it, I think twice during this, but anything that you're doing in your Rotary Club, any task as a membership person, as either a committee chair, a membership team member, or a club leader, everything is an opportunity for engagement. So examine every procedure, everything that you do in your club, and look for those missed opportunities to engage. You know, if you've had one person running a particular service project for the last 20 years, are you missing out on an opportunity to engage someone else with that and to get them involved in the fabric of your club? So I am interested to just hear from all of you on, if you think about your club, one task, one procedure, one process that you do, whether it's, you know, planning your program speakers, whether it's welcoming people on the virtual Zoom or coming up with an inspirational quote or whatever at a meeting. How could this be an opportunity to engage members? Either something you do now that engages members, one of those everyday tasks, or something that you're sitting here thinking, hey, you know, we could have a different person each week welcoming people onto the Zoom call personally, whatever it is. So I'm interested to hear if anyone wants to share of an everyday opportunity for engagement.
Hey, Jenny, you've really inspired me to form a membership committee in our club, which is not really that active at the moment. You know, we talked a few days ago and you brought up some great ideas and kind of rebranding. But you know, one of the things that I think exists today that maybe didn't exist a year ago is that there are so many people that are working from home, that are all alone at home, sitting all day in front of a computer, and they don't have the community connection and the networking connection that they once did. So I think that's actually an opportunity to appeal to those kind of people. But I think more importantly, you know, when I look around our club, you know, there's a lot of people that are my age and older, and I think we really need to reinvigorate our club. And so I've got 3-4 people in mind already that are all in their 30s and that, you know, all 30s, I guess, that I would like to, those are the people that I want on the membership committee to be able to brand our club as kind of a youthful organization that appeals to community connection and also interaction with others that can you know, help our club move forward to the next generations in the future. So anyway, thank you for that inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exciting. You know, I know a lot of clubs have maybe only had one person that's kind of been in charge of membership, and it's really just been processing new member applications. So I think in the time of the great pause that's been 2020 in terms of the way that we typically do Rotary, it's a great opportunity to shake it up a little bit and try some new things. Seth from Batavia shared having someone different lead the pledge or the invocation or happy bucks, you know, those traditions that you do every week in your club, shaking that up and inviting new people to join as kind of to join in those things it's a low pressure ask too, right? You're not asking them to, you know, go out and raise $10,000. You're saying, hey, you know, would you mind finding an inspirational quote or an inspirational reading for next week's meeting? Would you mind leading the 4-way test or whatever it is? Those are just everyday little opportunities to engage someone new. Also, someone mentioned Facebook, absolutely engaging, you know, kind of using your social media platforms to have conversations with not just your members, but also with people who aren't members yet. So with those people who haven't met you yet. Awesome. And I think for you as a membership chair, as a membership committee person, or as a club leader, really just thinking of yourself like an engagement detective of what are these opportunities that we are overlooking right now, but also looking for those opportunities where someone's missing from the conversation, or perhaps something could be more inclusive. So kind of constantly scanning, hey, this is a great project that we do. If we made this one small change or this one small addition, we might be able to engage more people and attract more people and reach more people. So thinking of yourself like a little membership detective. You've all been deputized. Okay. Yep. So more stuff being shared in the chat box. So definitely feel free to check that out and jot down ideas as well. So if your members are the heart of your club, your membership team is the arterial system, because membership really connects everyone, right? And I really look at membership as the connector between other committees. And we'll talk more about collaboration here towards the end. But because I say everything is an opportunity for engagement, everything is an opportunity for attraction, right? There's not much we do in Rotary that can't be front facing, that can't be public facing. So making sure that we're sending the message to those prospective members of, hey, come and join us. We're doing great work, and you know what would make it better? You. So thinking about that and applying that lens to everything that we do. So building an effective team is really critical because that's how we carry out this work. So let's talk through how to build that team. So first is to just think about, what does your club need? I've given you a basic template with some core functions, but what your club needs might be different. So Scott just shared that they're really trying to get their club a little more spirited, get their club a little more energetic. So that's kind of the focus. And in other clubs, it might be really working on trying to increase service engagement. So really think about your club. There are some great tools that Rotary has available. I love the Club Health Assessment. I think it's one of their best and most comprehensive tools. Another one that is actually going to be your homework at the end, so I'll give you the link. But this is one of the coolest things that I've seen from Rotary, and it's like not widely known. You kind of have to search for it, but it's the Club Planning Assistant. And it is a real-time interactive survey that you can take. And based on your answers, it changes the information that it gives you. So if any of you have ever been to the membership section of My Rotary, hopefully you've all logged into My Rotary. If not, that should be step one when you get off this call. But the membership section is wonderful, but it's also a little terrifying because there is so much information there. So if you go to the Club Planning Assistant, it is like walking into the museum and having your own personal docent. So you go in and you answer questions, and it gives you the resources and the tools and the guides and the templates that match your answers. It's one of my favorite things. I hate that I didn't find it sooner, but I'm going to share the link and we're going to build some action items around it after this session. But just those are my two favorite and kind of easiest to use tools for just thinking about what does your club need so that you can build your membership team or build your membership strategy around what you need. I think it's important to think about succession. No one person should be in charge of the same thing forever. I think one, it makes it hard to engage new people in leadership. And then two, it kind of creates stagnation, right? Because we're humans. We have pride about the things that we do. And when we've worked on a project and it's become our baby, or we've worked on something within our club, we don't want to let it go. And we maybe have a little bit of trouble sometimes thinking about it from a different perspective. So think about succession as you build. So if you're, let's say, the membership chair right now, be thinking about who could be the next membership chair and how can we engage them and upcycle our leadership through our club, because your committee chairs are your future club leaders, your future board members, and so on. So as you're building, be thinking about succession and be thinking about how to create a lot of depth within the teams that you have in your club, so that if someone's, life gets really busy and they have to step away, that whole initiative doesn't fall apart. So we really want to create sustainability and create those channels for succession. And you think about that while you're building. I also think when one person has done the same thing forever and ever and ever and ever, and then they're ready to move on because they've done it forever and ever and ever. And then we're looking for someone to step in and they say, oh, no, I'm not signing up for a life assignment here to this. So, creating that succession planning is really healthy for not just Rotary, but for any organization. Be clear with the expectations. So be clear with someone about the time commitment. Be clear with them about the mutual accountability of, hey, this is going to require monthly check-in with me. If you're going to be in charge of our orientation, I'm going to give you a call each month and see how that's going. Again, I already mentioned the term limits. I think they're so important, it's worth mentioning twice. And make a very specific ask. So here's an example. This is an email to Mira. I'm looking to shake things up on our membership team and get some new ideas flowing about engagement. I make it personal. You always bring a lot of energy and positivity to meetings, right? Tell them why you want them to be, why are they an important person to be a part of your team? And give them very specific feedback about why, because I don't just want a body on my committee, right? I don't just want another name on my list. I want you specifically because you have the skills that are needed to move this thing forward. So, and then I'm very clear right up front about the expectations. We meet once per month. Most committee members volunteer 2 to 3 hours per month on membership tasks. I also think it's important to use the word volunteer a lot. You notice when I introduced myself, I said I volunteer as the district membership chair, because I think that has a way of leveling the playing field in an organization that has a lot of hierarchy. At the end of the day, we're all here because we're intrinsically motivated by the work that we're doing. So this is an example of a very specific ask to invite someone. You'll notice that this could also double as an ask for someone to get involved with your Rotary Club in general, right? To say, hey, I'm a part of this organization called Rotary. We do X, Y, and Z, great work. We're solving the world's problems, changing lives, all of those good things about Rotary. You'd be great because, you know, I know that you have a lot of expertise about this, and I want to plug you into this conversation. I'm going to just take a quick glance at the chat box here. Okay, and finally, be eclectic in your intentions. Remember that we want to build a team that, you know, that creates a lot of dynamic energy. So you don't want to build a membership committee of people who think exactly like you do, because what's the point of having multiple people? So bring together lots of perspectives. And this could be perspectives in your philosophy about Rotary, your philosophy about organizations, but even your life experiences, your profession, your age, all of those things. Robert, did I see a hand up? Did you have something to add? Oh,
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
One of the, you mentioned the whole idea of going to new people and giving them a reason to participate or do the job you want them to do, and specifically why you want them to do it. And you talked about people being in the same job for a long time. Sometimes we have people that are in the same job a long time, but they don't want to leave that job. So what advice or what language would you use, or how would you approach someone who's been doing the job for a long time and they're kind of, they've lost their enthusiasm, they don't have any new ideas, but they still want to keep doing it?
Yeah, I think, you know, really coming at the direction of engagement is everyone's responsibility. So to say, hey, you know, hey, Frank, I know that you have, you know, led this project. You've led our Rose project for the last 15 years. I know you know it in and out and in and out. And we really want to create sustainability in that project. We also think it's a really great chance for you to mentor some of our newer members so that they can know how this project works and so that they can get involved in it too. So I think, you know, even when that person is kind of clutching onto that project, like Elmira, the cartoon, clutches onto a loved animal or furry friend, really, please, you know, asking them to be a servant leader and asking them to help you mentor and create new leadership opportunities for people in the club who are ready to step in and lend a helping hand. I also think it's important to be willing to have those frank and real conversations of, hey, you've led this project really successfully for a long time. But one thing I've noticed in the last couple of years when we've talked about this during crunch time, so say that it's an event, and when I've talked about it during crunch time, is that you felt that you've been kind of doing it on your own and haven't had a lot of support, right? If they're kind of the person who really wants to do it, but then kind of complains that they're the only one doing it, that dynamic happens a lot in organizations. So gently confront them with that and say, hey, the last 2 years, I noticed that you've been a little overwhelmed. You haven't gotten a lot of support. We want to build that in so that you can keep doing, you know, you can keep supporting this project. And then also the great side effect of that is that we're getting someone new involved too, and you can work alongside them. So that might not be the magic answer, but it's a good start. But I think having that gentle confrontation is also helpful because you're confronting them with the things that they've said. And I'm saying confronting, and I don't mean you have to have a knockdown drag out, but just kind of saying, hey, you know, we've taken your temperature a couple times on this, and these are the conversations we've had. Let's problem solve this. If anyone can't tell, I'm a social worker, if it doesn't like come out in everything I say. So thinking about who is missing from your team, right? So if you think about something in a certain way, I'm really guilty of this. I see it in the way that I like it. I get excited about someone's ideas and I just want to run with them. And I have to remind myself to slow down and think about who's looking at it differently than me. And I need to pull them into the conversation. So think about who is missing from your team, your member, and we're talking specifically about your membership team. And just think about that. If it's, if you're really looking at trying to recruit younger professionals, do you have a current young professional in your group who might be able to, in your club, who might be able to help you with that? If you're really looking at creating a new member engagement or a new member orientation, do you have someone who's joined your club in the last couple of years that might be able to answer those questions of, hey, it would have been really nice to know this when I joined, and use their expertise. So think about those people and then maybe use that smart introduction email template that I shared a few slides ago to reach out to them and tell them what their expertise is that has you so excited about them to join your team. Okay, gonna shift gears just a little bit, and that's collaborating with club leaders. So membership kind of sits at the intersection of a lot of other club functions, right? So if you looked at public image, you would see membership in there, right? Kind of melded in there a little bit. If you think about service, if you think about any of those other things that are happening within your club, there's always an element of membership in those. So, kind of thinking about how you can collaborate and how you can be a helper and a support. So if I say everything's an opportunity for engagement, how could you, as a membership committee member, a membership team member, be able to support the work that your public image chair is doing to make sure that that lens of member engagement and attraction is a part of that? How could you support the service projects, right? If your responsibility as a membership chair or membership committee is diversity, and you notice that all of your service projects exclude, unintentionally, of course, exclude a particular person, what could you do to make those projects a little bit more inclusive? Those are all things that as a membership committee you could be doing to, find those little opportunities. I think it's a great, these are my tips for collaboration. I should call them the 4 C's. I didn't know that they were all C's there, but these apply not just to Rotary, but to any kind of collaborative or multidisciplinary conversation that you have. One is just to communicate. In our district, I communicate pretty frequently to, say, the public image chair or to the person who manages our district's website, because I want to make sure that the information is getting out through those channels. And I also want to make sure that when I'm creating something membership related, I'm on point with what the overall strategy is for communications within our district, right? It doesn't make sense for me to be creating this great piece of membership content and that it doesn't really fit in with our overall public image strategy. And that applies at the club level as well. And I also hope that you'll all consider setting up regular meetings with other committee leaders. So I've seen a lot of clubs that have done this in conjunction with board meetings. So maybe the hour before a board meeting is just kind of a roundtable or a check-in with the committee chairs and maybe the president-elect, things like that, just to share, hey, this is what we're doing. Here are ideas. Here's what we need club board support from. That's a great strategy to try. That wasn't my idea. It's one I stole from some other club, but that's a great strategy to try. I have cultivation here because you can constantly be cultivating that's that new leadership cultivation. So looking at who needs to be a part of your team and, are they the best person to be a part of your team, or do they need to be on another committee, and work on cultivating those leaders. And also cross-pollination. At the district level, I volunteered late last fall on our polio team, going around doing polio presentations to clubs, because I thought it would be a great way for me to learn a little bit more about some clubs that I wasn't so familiar with. and just to kind of get a read on how are meetings going, what are meetings looking like in our district. So, and then also it was just helping out the foundation and polio team to go and do that. So think about those opportunities for cross-pollination or liaising, things like that between committees. So now I want to hear from you again. What is an opportunity to collaborate related to attraction? So when you think about your own club, what's an opportunity that you have to work with another committee or another team within your club that fosters attraction?
Well, Jenny, I'll start. I mean, just as you said before, I think there's always an opportunity to work with the public image committee, the club, and no matter what you're doing, you can never do too much. In my mind, you can never do too much in the way of promoting all the good things that we do, and
Absolutely.
we probably don't do that nearly as well as we should.
Yeah, and earlier
general.
on, some folks had shared, just saying who your program is going to be, who your speaker is, right? That's a collaboration between you and whoever runs your social media accounts. If you're in a smaller club, maybe you do both of those things too.
Jenny, it's
Right.
Dana.
Yes,
Our
go ahead.
membership is collaborating with program and our diversity and inclusion, because we're all trying to work towards the same results. And that is to increase our membership, engage our membership, and bring to the membership the things they want to hear. So that's the program. And we felt like if we kind of invited people to speak that we also think would be great Rotarians, then maybe there's some opportunity there to kind of help them be aware of us too.
Yeah.
So we're kind of new at this particular part. So I'll keep you posted if we do get some fruits of the labor, but that's our attempt right now.
Yeah, that's a great strat. I mean, right, using the good that you already got as those opportunities. I see Art's hand raised. Art Matthews.
Hopefully my speaker's working. I can't hear myself.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. We're in Westchester, Liberty Club, and I've been sharing the barbecue festival down here for the last 7-8 years. And so one of the things I have done was to encourage our elected, I always get these confused, whether it's the newly elected president, to bring in whose role it is to bring in speakers. I don't know if every club uses that format or not, but to bring sponsors that we have in that festival, or any club that has an event with a golf outing or a gala event or an auction, to have the sponsors come in and speak to them and tell them a little bit about their industry, a little bit about their business and their activity in the community, as a way to bring them closer to us and hopefully engage them enough to maybe consider joining the club. Also, I reached out to a lot of business owners and asked them again to come in and be members, or to come in and speak to us. I think sometimes it seems a lot of charity people come in and tell us about their charity, obviously trying to garner grants and things of that nature, which is wonderful. We need to hear from those folks as well. But sometimes making sure that we stay close and to draw our sponsors and the people that help us succeed on a fundraiser to become a part of what we do.
Yeah, that's a great strategy, again, of just using the great work that you're already doing and then thinking of, okay, how could we make this more engaging? How could we use this as a tool for attraction? That's a great point of looking to the supporters of the events that you're a part of.
Yeah.
I think we've already.
Let me just say real quick, Jenny, can I just say real quick?
Absolutely.
Turn that around a little bit. I mean, I think that's a great point. I'll let Rich talk in a second, but also ask those businesses, ask those sponsors if they do service projects, and why couldn't your Rotary Club collaborate with them, or why couldn't their business collaborate with you on a service project versus just, along with hearing about them, along with bringing them into the club, is there an opportunity for collaboration between the two organizations?
Yeah, that's a great addition. Thank you, Steve. Richard, did you have something else to add? I wasn't sure if your hand was still up from before, or Richard's iPad. I don't know your last name. I'm sorry.
It was from a previous question and it was answered. And the last name is Steele, Steele. I'm St. Clairsville Sunrise.
Okay.
And now I exist. All right. No, that's good. I lowered it after my question was answered, and thank you for thinking of that.
Okay. And then how about diversity? If anyone has an example of how you collaborated to expand the diversity of your club. And remember, I'm talking about diversity in the broadest sense. So, this is an area that, and as I go around and talk to clubs, that they struggle with a little bit of how to have effective strategy around this. So if you have something that's been really great, I think this is a great opportunity to share. And if not, I'll share one because I have a lot. This is one thing I've been really honing in on and trying to hear about. So a great thing that I've seen happening in a couple of clubs that I've visited is really looking at how to make their service projects more accessible and more inclusive. So, if the project involves a lot of physical labor, thinking about who's being excluded from this particular project and how can we make sure that we're still also offering opportunities that can include them. So that's one really great thing that I've seen happening in a lot of clubs. And I think it's just another way to level up in that value that we offer to members. So those are just a couple of examples of opportunities to spread membership out across your club and across other structures within your club as well. So
Jenny?
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, I talked over
Yeah,
someone.
that's okay. What I'm proposing is to, if we have someone come in as a potential member, to give them one of our directories. And it shows, kind of a diverse who we have and the things that we have going on. And to back up, on the front of it, it had when Rotary was started and who started it, and kind of gave them a history of the history, so they could ask questions beyond that. So just FYI.
Yeah, that's a great, just sharing information of Rotary, has this 100-plus-year-old story. So just using that as a conversation starter. I have two very personal connections to polio. One is that a member of my family is a polio survivor, and then a childhood friend of mine that I met through a pen pal program actually died from complications related to polio. And I was a member of Rotary for nearly a year before I understood the Rotary and polio connection. And then, of course, once I learned of that, right, I was in even deeper in Rotary once I learned that there was this huge commitment to eradicating polio. So just sharing the story of Rotary is sometimes a great strategy just to start conversations and learn more about people. I was the president of my club a couple of years ago, and my favorite thing to do that I did during that year was I met with every member of our club, current members and new members, and it just asking them why they joined Rotary, why they were interested, what were their priorities, what ideas did they have, and then connecting them with other people in the club to help start those kind of smart connections or start those conversations. And it was one of the cool experience for me. I hope it also was special for them, but it was a really cool experience for me just to hear why people were interested. And then I could, kind of, oh, this person's interested in this. I'm going to connect them to this person because that's going to be a great conversation that's going to get started right there. Great. So your homework for tonight, I mean homework in the loosest sense of the term. Obviously, I would encourage you to do this, but it's an offering up to you. So I encourage you to tonight complete the club planning assessment survey, and I am going to go ahead and drop the link into the chat box for all of you as well. I think you can also Google it. You do have to sign in to my Rotary to access it. But it's a Qualtrics survey and it's the club planning assessment. This is that really cool, intuitive, responsive survey that I was talking about. And it'll give you feedback as you complete it, depending on your answers. And just answer them honestly. When I did it for myself, I said no to things or I didn't know to things. So just go ahead and you complete the survey. And then at the end, you can download a PDF that has all of your responses plus the recommended tools for you. So I highly recommend it. So if you want to play along with this, tonight, I challenge you to do the assessment survey. Tomorrow, sit on it for a little bit, but tomorrow I challenge you to choose one or two, if you're feeling really froggy, one or two recommendations from the survey, and then work with your team, work with other members of your club on how you might implement that. And then next week sometime, share that PDF and your plan with your club leadership. So if, it came up and maybe looking at those opportunities to engage through service is one of the priorities that you identify. Come up with your plan, share that with your club leadership, and then send your district membership chair an update on your success, no matter which district you're in. I can tell you in the job that I volunteer for with our district, I'm always looking for great work that clubs are doing so that I can share that with other clubs so that we can learn from each other. So I challenge you all to do this tool, to do this survey, check it out. I really like it. I hate that I didn't find it earlier, but it's a great way to prioritize some of the resources that are available through Rotary. Other helpful resources are our district's page. We have a whole section on maintaining and increasing engagement that is always growing. So there's some really useful one-page guides that are just kind of real digestible, not too heavy. You can go through them real easily, including some checklists on when you have that member who's kind of disappearing like pixel by pixel, right? You used to see them every week on Zoom, and now it's kind of every 2 weeks, and then it's every week, and then maybe it's once a month, and you kind of see them disappearing. There's a whole checklist for how to start conversations with that person and how to re-engage them. Of course, the endless land of My Rotary and the Learning Center has tons of stuff on membership. Check that out. I've also included in there the link again for that club assessment survey, as well as the health check, which I said is another of my favorite tools. Otherwise, I wanted to let you know of a couple updates in our district to membership team, some new folks that are signing on. I think we have one or two of them on tonight. And then there's my contact information. Of course, let's be friends forever. And save the date for March 16th. We'll go back to our 5:30 meeting time starting in March. We'll go back to the usual 5:30 to 6:30 time. But we have about 5 minutes, and I'm going to shut up for a minute, and I want to hear any questions or input that any of you have. And if not, I'll give you back 5 minutes of your life.
Well, I'll just ask the question. This was a great session. To me, what we have to do is take a session like this. What are you going to do when you go back to your clubs? What are you going to do when if you're AGs? What are you going to go tell the district membership chairs of the clubs, whom you're helping? What actions are we going to take, or all of us going to take, whether it be AGs and district leaders or individual club members, presidents, district membership chairs? What specific actions are we going to take based on what we've learned today? write down write down 2 or 3 things that you want to try and that you took away from this that you want to try and do, and then ask people in your club, make that happen. That's my request. I appreciate it. Thanks.
District Governor Steve's throwing down another challenge. So let's impress him. If you all could just make me look really good when we come back together for March, let's just impress and knock Steve's socks off with our next one. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you all. It made me very Rotary happy to hang out with all of you for the last hour. I know you have lots of things to do, so I appreciate that you chose to spend this last hour having this conversation with me. The recording will be available on the YouTube channel for Rotary District 6690 YouTube. Probably not till tomorrow because I have rural internet and it'll take a while to download. But otherwise, hope to see many of you back in March, if not before then. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Have a fabulous and very happy Tuesday. All right, well, I'll do
Thanks,
this.
Jenny.
Bye.
Thanks, Jenny.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Hey,
Love your energy.
Steve.